Radio.
The last of the cold weather holiday is almost upon us. Amazon experiencing labor pains at 2 New York warehouses.
Amazon operates hundreds of warehouses across the U.S., so even if a strike at 2 of these facilities starts in the coming days, it could have a limited impact nationwide on the shipment of holiday gifts, especially if they're already out on the truck for delivery. So bottom line, Amazon packages should still arrive on time, but for all of the last-minute shoppers out there, still want to keep an eye on your tracking information.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. President-elect Trump held a wide-ranging news conference at his Florida golf club.
President-elect Trump defends his choice to lead the federal health agencies, saying Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is much less radical than his critics may think.
I found him to be very rational. No, nothing. You're not going to lose the polio vaccine. That's not going to happen.
But when asked at a Mar-a-Lago news conference if he supports schools continuing to require vaccines, Trump said he doesn't like mandates, and he pointed to increasing autism rates in the U.S.
There's something wrong, and we're going to find out about it.
The medical community insists there is no link between vaccines and autism. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
A federal judge in New York City sentenced former talk show host Carlos Watson to nearly 10 years in prison in a financial conspiracy case involving his defunct Ozy Media. 2 co-defendants pleaded guilty and testified against Watson. They have yet to be sentenced. I'm Richard Cantu, ABC News.
The holidays are upon us, and you know what that means. It's a crazy, stressful time of year. That's why I want to tell you about Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, with 7 proven forms of magnesium to target every system in your body. Don't let stress and burnout ruin your holidays. Get Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers and give your body the magnesium it craves. It's the perfect gift for yourself or a loved one this holiday season. For an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/radio and use promo code radio during checkout to save 10% and transform your health. That's bioptimizers.com/radio.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Gil Walter, KBNU News. News is brought to you by Dr. Keith Nelson. Dangerous avalanche conditions remained in effect in northern Utah mountains through this morning, according to the Utah Avalanche Center. Craig Morgan with the center said backcountry avalanche danger will remain tricky for the next couple of days. He explained the heavy snow and drifting caused by the winds have been causing hazardous conditions will be for the next few days. Gordon said it's snow combined with very strong winds that are overloading pre-existing weak layers. He added that conditions are at a level 3, which means humans may trigger avalanches. Officials said loose snow accumulation is widespread on northerly facing slopes in the Wasatch Range, western Uintas, and Bear River Range. People in Huntsville were still without drinking water Sunday morning as town officials continued to search for a severe leak, and residents stocked up on water from fire hydrants or loading jugs at a church. Huntsville updated a Facebook post late Saturday to say that crews have eliminated several potential sources of the leak, and the team was optimistic regarding the progress to be made in the next few days. According to Huntsville Mayor Richard Sorensen, a massive leak was first detected on Monday and has depleted nearly all the town's drinkable water. On Friday night, Huntsville leaders shut off drinking water throughout the town as they searched for the leak somewhere in a 4,000-foot pipe underground between the Huntsville Purification Plant and the town water storage tank. The mayor said everything they've tried so far, from drones to thermal imaging, has not worked. The water shutoff forced a Huntsville hotel and a restaurant to close until the water leak was found and fixed. Advocates for public lands access are raising alarms about a lawsuit that could be heard by the U.S. Supreme Court. The state of Utah has filed a suit arguing the U.S. Bureau of Land Management is holding about 18.5 million acres of land in the state unconstitutionally, saying it cannot be unappropriated land in perpetuity. Idaho and 12 other states have joined the suit. They say federally controlled land should be transferred to states, but the head of the Idaho Wildlife Federation, Nick Faziano, says that would be disastrous for public lands and the people who use them.
State ownership of lands at this scale is a direct path of privatization. State budgets do not have the capacity to manage lands at enormous scale like this without selling it off. Idaho has a constitutional mandate to maximize the financial return of the land under its management.
Outdoor recreation has been increasing in Idaho, adding nearly $4 million to the economy in 2023. Fasciano says hunters, anglers, and other recreationists fear privatization will mean they are cut off from access to public lands. KVNU congratulates Tyler Wilson, a deputy with the Cache County Sheriff's Office, our latest Above and Beyond Salute winner from Firehouse Subs. A citizen nominated Tyler, saying he is a hard-working man that loves his family and his community. They also noted how he recently transferred to the sheriff's office after serving in the Preston Police Department for 6 years. To say thanks, we gave Tyler a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. Submit your nominations for the Above and Beyond Salute by visiting kvnutalk.com. Some rain and snow tonight and overnight. Little or no accumulation. Overnight low in the upper 20s. Cloudy with rain and snow likely in the morning, and then partly sunny. Partly sunny skies, it is, and a chance of rain and snow in the afternoon. Again, little or no accumulation on Tuesday with a high temperature in the lower 40s. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Nelson, board-certified, fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeon, and I want to restore your active, pain-free life. I've been an innovator in the treatment of knee pain caused by arthritis and sports injuries for 27 years. I'm the only surgeon in northern Utah to offer Omnibotics, a robotic-assisted knee replacement for your arthritic knee, which has a 97% patient satisfaction rate. Don't live with your knee pain another day. Visit drkeithnelsonortho.com. That's drkeithnelsonortho.com.
Dr. Nelson accepts most insurances, including select health plans.
Breaking news, stimulating talk. News Talk, KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Disasters don't wait for a convenient time. When the unexpected strikes, call the trusted team at Blue Sky. Remember, Blue Sky is that same great ARS team you know and trust.
This is Tom with Blue Sky Restoration. When disaster strikes, whether it's a flood, fire, mold damage, or an unforeseen accident, Blue Sky will clean up, repair, and restore your home or business like it was before. No disaster is too big or too small. For all your restoration needs, you can trust our Blue Sky team.
Wonder is timeless. Discovery is everlasting. And exploration is never-ending. At Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, we cherish the unforgettable memories you've shared with us for the past 25 years. Thank you for being a part of our story. Visit livingplanetaquarium.org to embark on a new adventure and continue our journey together.
This holiday season, Hull Tree Care wants to say thank you for trusting us to care for your trees and shrubs throughout the year. Your support has helped us grow, and we're grateful to be part of this community. As winter settles in, it's the perfect time to give your trees a little TLC. Regular trimming during the dormant season not only keeps your trees healthy, but also prepares them to flourish in the spring. Let us help your landscape stay beautiful and strong, just like your holiday traditions. Call Hull Tree Care today at 760-6587. That's 760-6587. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of today's show. Just a reminder, and we'll talk more about these later on in the hour, but about 45 minutes from now, 6 p.m. in downtown Logan, just off of Center Street next to Great Harvest, a celebration will be taking place tonight to kick off several weeks of the Light the World giving machines being here in Cache Valley. You may have seen these reported in the news last year. They were very popular in the Salt Lake area just off of City Creek, but they've also been placed around the world. And short version, they are vending machine-like charity machines. You pick an item. You can buy a goat for a family in an impoverished country. You can buy a chicken for $7. That's food for a year for these families. You can also buy health care for a child for a month in Northern Africa for I think $25. You can buy you can donate money to local charities. Several Cache Valley nonprofits will be represented in the giving machine vending machines there. But the goal of this is, as Craig Dunkley told us last week when we had a chance to speak with him, is to also raise awareness of the need out there so that hopefully people give throughout the year. And that event will take place again tonight, 6 p.m. on Center Street. They have live music, food, warming centers. It's a little chilly. And also some guest speakers. And this will get things underway with the giving machines officially lighted up tonight during the ceremony at 6 p.m. And then each and every day from tonight on, starting at 9 a.m., until 9 p.m., these giving machines will be open and available for people to stop by and give. And that will run until January 1st. So go down, check it out, learn the importance of learning about the need that's out there around the world, because sometimes we do kind of forget about it. And that is, again, a free event on Center Street tonight. The Light the World giving machines will be officially lighted and open for public use, as well as guest speakers, live music, and more. That's 6 p.m. tonight on Center Street. Another that I've highlighted a couple of times here because we're coming down to the wire on this. Cares for Christmas deadline is 5 p.m. this Wednesday. And for those not familiar, Cares for Christmas, again, is now in its 10th year, a Cache Valley charity effort that is run entirely by volunteers. And the way this works is there is a vetting process for the families, but families are nominated by family members, coworkers, people in their neighborhood, people in their church groups. A lot of different ways families can be nominated, but families with extreme need are nominated. They're vetted to make sure the situation is, really as described. And then they're added to the Cares for Christmas program each year. And the deadline, again, coming up this Wednesday at 5. We have partnered with Cares for Christmas one more time as a drop-off location for items on the family's lists of needs and wants that you might go pick up, buy for the families, and bring down here. We're doing that until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 18th. That's the deadline. And there are still so many unfulfilled wants and needs of these families, and some of these family situations. The one that really stands out to me is an example of the types of families you'll be helping at caresforchristmas.org, where you can click on a family, read their story, and see the list of wants and needs for mom, dad, the kids, in some cases grandparents who've had to come and live with them unexpectedly. But one family, to give you the best example I can think of the types of families you'll be helping at caresforchristmas.org, is a family, a newborn baby just weeks ago, born really early, some medical issues. The baby has yet to leave Primary Children's in Salt Lake. That means dad is driving from Salt Lake to St. George multiple times a week. Mom is trying to stay in Salt Lake as much as possible. And kids, the other children of these two, are staying with grandparents here in Cache Valley while they go through this. Another situation, mom of 6, her husband just lets her know one day he can't do it anymore. They have 2 children with special needs, and he leaves. And she's trying to figure out how to make it all work, including Christmas. 2 children with special needs who could use new tablets for their education and things like that. It's a tablet's very common in education for children with autism. They can learn better that way. But they also need winter coats and snow boots, church clothes. There are so many needs for 15 different families. And again, this is at caresforchristmas.org, where you can find out more. And we had a chance to speak recently with Melissa Franson, who runs Cares for Christmas, along with a team of volunteers every year. And again, the deadline coming up this Wednesday at 5 p.m. to drop your items off here at the Cache Valley Media Group, 810 West, 200 North. But we had a chance to speak with Melissa about the reason this program was launched 10 years ago.
Had several homeless families throughout the year that need blankets, that need warm items. We have a family right now that's on the verge of losing their home and their car, and just those things that you would never dream of that you have to worry about, not just as yourself, but then you have kids. We also, I believe, have a single mom with 6 kids. I think, can we do that with everything she's got going on to keep herself going, but also all of her family. There's another single mom that's putting herself through nursing school. Her older children have come home from college so they can help out, so she can go to school.
Oh, that's touching.
And then once her education is done, then they will go back and finish their education. But just a testament of those older children that, mom's helped us through all these years, and now she needs help, and we're going to step to the plate and come home and help her raise the rest of our kids that are siblings at home. And
that is, a lot of these families have ended up in these situations through, accidents through no fault of their own. One family, this was heartbreaking as well, but obviously surprise loss of the children's father, and now the mother just trying to, piece all of this together. And then again, when you get down to the wants list for all of them, just very humble stuff, board games, shoes, coats, things like that, gift cards to any retail option, but specifically, the places where you can save money like Ross and Family Dollar, things like that. It's very humbling to read through these lists. And it's also, I've noticed there is a lot left to reserve. Were you a little intimidated this year when you realized you were going to take on 15 families to help? Because that's our biggest increase,
year,
right?
For sure. And just the need in the Valley, it shows that. And I put feelers out to my different contacts, and I thought that I had it all filled and my family's all done. And I had another one of my contacts come in that I've used in the past and said, I have 2 families that really need help. And how do I say no to that? It's so hard to turn people away. And
sure.
So we were able to pick up those additional families, and that really did throw us over what we've done in the past. And I'm hoping that we're able to step up as a Valley, and that I can help out as much as we can and get the needs met with what I've committed for this year.
That is, these lists are necessities in most cases. Families where the list of needs for the children include, underwear and coats, pants for school. One family, they need church clothes, and it just there's something on here that anyone could either go shop for, or maybe you've been given something you want to re-gift. There's so many options for this, but these are families in need. Cooking and baking utensils, new pillows for the beds. I could list things all day long. And of course, if someone doesn't have the time or the interest in going shopping for something on the list, your team at Cares for Christmas, you can take a gift card or a cash donation through Venmo and take that quite a long ways.
Yes, gift cards we usually do turn right over to the families. You can make it out for a specific family that you want us to give it to, or at the end, we just kind of see what we have and what families are still in need, and we'll add the gift cards to those families. But all cash donations, I do take those, and we go out and shop for what's left over or what's needed. I know Family 13, there are a couple of bigger items. There are each of the kids want a Kindle tablet. But knowing this family a little bit, those kids are special needs. And it's things that they need at school to help with their autism, I believe, is one of them, and some learning disabilities that Kindle is really vital to their education. So even though some of them, and then they're kids, and some people ask for Xbox games or Switch games. You have the kids out there
you'd be worried if they didn't, right?
Right, exactly. So there are some bigger items out there, but they're not huge. When I think of things that my kids ask for, I just always get touched by the small things that most kids are asking for.
Many of our listeners may not recognize this, but it's a very popular game. But I love this. For one of the on the list of wants for Family 13, they have this family has many children, but there is a 9-year-old boy, and I love that. I just kind of chuckled when I saw this. Top want a Minecraft sweatshirt. That is so 9-year-old boy, but also again for everyone listening, for all of us here, imagine being in a situation where that's the only thing your 9-year-old son wants for Christmas, and you don't have the means to get it. And the rest of us might have the means to help out. So whether it's from the needs list or the wants list, again, some families looking just for winter clothing, boots for their children, church clothes, other families looking for gas cards. The one family I mentioned with dad traveling from St. George to Salt Lake, mom staying in Salt Lake with a newborn there at Primary Children's, and the children staying with grandparents here in Cache Valley. Gas cards would really probably make their day. There are a million different, well, not a million, but there are hundreds of different items for 15 different families, a total of 72 individuals ranging from a few weeks old to 80-plus years old, grandparents staying with their children here in Cache Valley, all of them in great need this Christmas, and the deadline is quickly coming up. There are so many items that haven't been met yet, so even if you can't go shop for items on the list for one of these 15 families, gift cards. You can make a Venmo donation, just a cash donation directly to Cares for Christmas. On Venmo, use the handle cares-for-Christmas. And you can find all of this information, including the stories of each of these families and their list of wants and needs for the year at caresforchristmas.org. And thanks again to Melissa Franson for stopping by to talk about that. Again, the deadline coming up this Wednesday at 5 p.m. for drop-off here at the Cache Valley Media Group, 810 West, 200 North. And caresforchristmas.org, again, for the Venmo ID, for the stories of the 15 families, their list of wants and needs, items that haven't been met or reserved yet. And please help us out. Help them. Let's make sure no family on this list goes without at least the needs lists. We'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
Happy holidays from Birch Creek Golf Course. For your golfer this Christmas, I invite you to visit birchcreekgolf.com. Birch Creek's online store offers punch passes that are on sale at the spring sale price, as well as driving range passes and discounted golf lessons from our PGA teaching staff. So for your golfer this Christmas, I invite you to visit birchcreekgolf.com and enjoy Birch Creek's virtual online store. And happy holidays from your friends at Birch Creek.
Thank you for choosing Solar Glass and Tint, gold winner for Auto Glass in the 2024 Best of Northern Utah. Winning is a testament to our commitment to excellence. Thank you for your support.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson at Wilson Motor Company. We are in the middle of our year-end closeout sale on all 2024 models. We have a great selection of over 80 F-150s and Super Duties in stock and coming, and they all need to go. All 2024 models are at closeout pricing. Plus, we have rebates up to $7,500 and interest rates as low as 0% for 72 months. They won't last long. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with My Shelter Pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt Pure Love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Do you know a champion in our community? Nominate them for the KVNU Above and Beyond Salute. Every Friday morning at 8:30, we'll spotlight a firefighter, law enforcement officer, healthcare worker, or other deserving individual and give them a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. Submit your nominations for the Above and Beyond Salute by visiting kvnutalk.com. Help us recognize the champions in our communities. The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU, the voice of Northern Utah.
Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. This is something that I originally found out about from a Utah lawmaker, because understandably this is something on many Utah lawmakers' minds. Not those, I'm going to just keep poking fun here, not those who are busy penning op-eds, if poorly informed and nonsensical op-eds against our mail-in voting system, like Cache Valley's own Representative Mike Peterson. Still cannot believe one of Cache Valley's lawmakers signed this thing. Anyway, moving on. I won't. I'm going to keep bringing that up until I get a chance to feel, I don't know, a little of my anger at an elected official signing onto an op-ed that complains that it's too easy for people to vote. Good Lord, Representative Mike Peterson, what were you thinking? Moving on, I promise. More serious lawmakers concerned about the cost of climate change here in Utah. Specifically here in Utah, like many states in the West, the climate change-induced frequency and increased severity of wildfires. This is a very expensive thing for states. Now, granted, the federal government has quite a bit of disaster aid to offer states in these situations, and Utah has claimed hundreds of millions of dollars of that over the years to sort of pay ourselves back for wildfire prevention and fighting expenses. But as every Western state, especially right now California and Oregon, but also Colorado in previous years, and about 4 years ago, Utah, the frequency and severity of wildfires is increasingly a big part of states' budgets in the West. And what to do about it is, a lot of question marks, a few answers. The reason this came up today, though, and was getting talked about a bit on social media by a handful of Utah state senators and a couple of House lawmakers, Oregon this morning approved their final Emergency Wildlife Fund budget, and it is $218 million just for the 2024 wildfire season. Now, granted, this was a record-setting season in Utah, or in Oregon. But currently, there are 5 wildfires still raging in California, and at this time. And this also represents a steep increase in expense for taxpayers as a part of Oregon's state budget. New Mexico lawmakers, back in a summer special session, also approved millions in emergency aid for wildfire victims in their state. North Dakota, not in the West, but kinda, and Wyoming have made record-breaking requests for federal disaster declarations and recovery costs. Now, by record-breaking, I mean record-breaking for the state of Wyoming and the state of North Dakota. They asked for more money than they've ever asked for before to offset the costs of wildfires. So a record 1.9 million acres, that's about 2,900 square miles in largely eastern Oregon, although there was one close to Portland. And the cost to the state overall in 2024, the state of Oregon, was $350 million. That comes from a report last week that triggered this move by Oregon lawmakers today from Governor Tina Kotek's office, that $350 million total number. And that, for Oregon, was the most expensive wildfire season in state history. And there have been some significant drought years for Oregon over the last several decades. But again, the most expensive wildfire season in state history taking place in 2024. So this has lawmakers in every Western state, including here in Utah. Utah lawmakers on social media today sort of speculating about what, does the state need to set more aside for this type of thing? Maybe some of the rainy day funds, when they're available, don't make it into the rainy day fund, instead go into a wildfire rainy day fund. But one lawmaker saying, look, we try to pride ourselves here in the state on not being so dependent on the federal government, and yet we're entirely dependent on the federal government to pick up a large chunk of our wildfire fighting and prevention costs each year. So are we as state lawmakers willing to put more aside for wildfire prevention efforts and wildfire fighting efforts each year, knowing that the cost is just going to keep increasing as it has for Oregon, and may get up to the point where we're talking $250 million for a single summer. And that's not even covering the full costs. That's just what they're putting aside to pay back the expenses so far this year in Oregon. That's a big chunk of the Utah budget, as well as the Oregon budget. And so lawmakers looking at this, seeing what's happening in Oregon and other states, and saying, do we need to put more aside for this? And if so, what if that means, a tax increase somewhere? And if it does mean that, what kind of a tax increase? Are we just going to keep paying for more stuff? One lawmaker saying we're just going to keep paying. This is obviously a need, and we obviously need to start planning for more frequent and more severe wildfires. And that has been the trend the last several years. But how much are we going to keep trying to fund off of everyone's property taxes? Another lawmaker saying in response to that, well, what are you suggesting? That we undo the income tax cuts of the last couple of years? And no answer from the original lawmaker. These are both two Republicans, by the way. And none of this is being proposed in any official way yet. There's no bill. There's no, but there may be. The session is weeks away, and they sometimes are still writing bills until mid to end of session. So it might pop up, but there's no specific bill that they're discussing here. They're purely speculating out loud, saying, that Utah, like Oregon, like California, like Colorado, like Wyoming, like North Dakota, has been spending more and more federal dollars, paying themselves back for wildfire prevention and fighting costs each year. And if Utah is going to continue to pride itself on not, further ballooning the federal budget, should Utah start putting more money aside for this? And if so, where do we take that money from, or how do we get more revenue to do this? But as one lawmaker put it, one thing we know for sure is the need isn't going to be decreasing anytime soon. Look at what Oregon just had to do. Again, referencing Oregon lawmakers' decision today to approve a $218 million emergency wildlife fund to sort of offset the costs, which totaled about $350 million. The rest of that will be picked up by the federal government and paying the state back through their emergency relief effort or funds. Increased costs for every state in the West, and Utah lawmakers, without conclusion today, kind of, throwing out ideas. What do we do about this? We know the increased costs are coming, but how do we want to pay them? Or are we going to let that fall on the federal government and increase the federal budget in those ways? It's an interesting debate to see them have. Again, no specific bill being discussed here, but if you want to see all the comments from about 5 or 6 lawmakers just bantering about this on social media today after the announcement out of Oregon, it's an interesting look at some of the challenges for the legislature when crafting that budget each year. I've linked to some of the social media discussion via a link you'll see on our Facebook page, and we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Roof Rescue. A 45-year-old New Jersey man has been arrested for allegedly traveling to Cache Valley and raping a 13-year-old girl he had been communicating with online. Paul T. Carroll was booked into the Cache County Jail on Saturday, 2 months after a warrant was issued for his arrest. According to the arrest affidavit, Logan City police officers were called to Logan Regional Hospital back on April 15th to investigate a child sex abuse report. The young girl had told medical staff she had been raped by someone she thought was a 26-year-old man she had met online. The victim's mother provided officers with several laptop computers the girl had allegedly used to communicate with the suspect online. The chats were through an app that were sexual in nature and included a nude photo that the man sent the girl. Police were able to track the account ID used on the app to an IP address in New Jersey. The user information was tracked to a Paul Carroll of Helmetta, New Jersey. Logan City Police contacted the Jamesburg Police Department in New Jersey and learned that Carroll was a registered sex offender, previously convicted of attempting to meet with a child. Working with the Middlesex District Attorney's Office, a search warrant was drafted for Carroll's home. Police found several of the items seen in the background of the photo and video that the victim had been sent. According to jail records, Carroll was booked on one charge of enticing a minor, a second-degree felony, and 2 counts of dealing in materials harmful to a minor, a third-degree felony. He is being held temporarily without bail pending arraignment in Logan's First District Court. As times change, so too do the threats that face us as a community. That quote from the Utah State University Department of Public Safety's homepage explains why Wednesday of this week the school will conduct a drill to test the university's alert systems and building secure procedures on the Logan campus. At 9:30 a.m., an Aggie alert via text and email will go to those who work or study on the Logan campus. Due to a recent system change, the message will come from 89361. To minimize inconvenience from the test, students and employees are encouraged to plan ahead. At the start of the 10-minute test, all campus buildings with key card access will be temporarily locked. Interim Director of Emergency Management Scott Davis said Aggie Alert is USU's first line of emergency communication with the campus community. Davis said messages during the Wednesday morning alert will indicate it is a drill and not an actual emergency. KVNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Your locally owned Napa Auto Parts supplies parts to over a dozen local Napa Auto Care Centers. You can count on and trust their ASE certified mechanics. That's at Napa Auto Parts. Looking at rain and snow in the forecast tonight and overnight, little or no snow accumulation, low in the upper 20s. Cloudy with rain and snow likely in the morning, partly sunny with a chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Again, little or no accumulation on Tuesday, high temperature in the lower 40s. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
In Wisconsin say they completed the reunification of students who survived Monday's deadly mass shooting at a school. And sources tell ABC News a teenage female student at the Abundant Life Christian School shot and killed 2 people, a fellow student and a teacher. 6 other people were hurt. Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes.
Of the 6 injured and taken to local hospitals, 2 students remain in critical condition. Their injuries are life-threatening.
Ukraine's military intelligence agency and the Pentagon say some North Korean troops have been killed in action in Russia's Kursk region, around 30 killed in a battle with Ukrainian troops over the weekend. A judge in New York City rejected President-elect Trump's bid to have his hush money conviction thrown out on the grounds of the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. This is ABC News.
For over a decade, Roof Rescue has been safeguarding your homes with the finest roofing solutions. We understand the value of your time. That's why we're committed to replacing most roofs in just 1 day. With award-winning service, 100% guaranteed workmanship, and the best warranties in the industry, your watertight peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 435-999-4268 or visit roofrescueusa.com and ask for the $250 off any roof replacement. Financing available? That's roofrescueusa.com.
This is Dan Johnson.
And Carol Johnson. We volunteer on CAPS's Board of Directors.
Because every survivor deserves to hear, you matter.
To CAPS's supporters, thank you. You matter to this work.
And to everyone listening, we invite you to join us in making a difference with a donation to CAPSA this holiday season.
Your support is a powerful message to survivors. You matter.
Learn more and donate at CAPSA.org.
This Christmas, you can make a difference for families in Cache Valley through Cares for Christmas. For over a decade, Cares for Christmas has been bringing comfort, joy, and hope to families in need. Families who might not ask for help, but truly deserve it. Every family we help has been thoughtfully nominated, and this year we are supporting 15 families and over 70 individuals, our largest outreach yet. From warm clothes to toys to practical items and gift cards, your generosity can light up their holiday season. To help, visit caresforchristmas.org. That's caresforchristmas.org. And thanks for caring this Christmas.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. President-elect Trump has promised to undo a handful of Biden-era laws. Hear how the outgoing president is trying to preserve them. Also, young men hold an outsized share of risky and volatile investments that carry some warnings, but right now they're having a good run. And why credit card rates remain stubbornly high despite Fed rate cuts. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Coming up, courts decide in favor of Utah regulators in appointing a receiver to assume management of, on the banks of the Great Salt Lake, US Magnesium. This is a big company that has made gazillions of dollars, and somehow they're in trouble. We'll talk about the background on this and why Utah regulators finally took it to court and said, we need to take over management of this company for the sake of the Great Salt Lake. A controversial move, but one that had the support of even conservative lawmakers in the Utah House and Senate, because simply the necessary cleanup work was not being done. Details on that and what the judge had to say today coming up in a bit. In just a few minutes in downtown Logan, the Light the World giving machines will be lighted for the first time. These are located just off of Center Street near Great Harvest there in the parking lot, and they will be there until January 1st. This is a multi-denominational effort to, as Craig Dunkley, a committee member of the Light the World Committee, said, working with leaders in the LDS Church and others, even local nonprofits here who will be represented in the giving machines, as well as nonprofit organizations and charitable work through the church and others around the world. All of that will be an option for you. For example, for $7, you can buy a chicken for a family in Northern Africa. For $25, I think, maybe $50, you can buy a goat. For $20, you can buy health care for a child in an impoverished country for a month. But you can also donate to local nonprofits here that are doing work to feed hungry families and house hungry families. So it's a really, really cool effort. The giving machines first made their big publicly noticeable appearance last year. They had some there at City Creek and several news stories after they got some attention. It's basically a big red vending machine, several of them actually in some locations. And you choose the item you want. You put your donation in. Now, no cash. This is cards and phones only. But you make your donation, and then what you bought drops down into the collection bin. You get to see it sitting right there with the other donations. And it is 100% charity. No overhead on this one. So very cool stuff. We had a chance to speak with Craig Dunkley, a committee member, again, of the Light the World Committee. And I had a chance to ask him where this idea originated for this kind of fun way to do really noble charitable work. And here's what Mr. Dunkley had to say. How did this originate? The idea of doing this, charitable work through the church, through these vending machine style events.
Well, the Light the World initiative from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints started back in 2017. So this is the 8th year, and part of that initiative was the giving machines. They are kind of an umbrella under that Light the World initiative. And so over the years, since 2017, there have been $32 million raised. Over 2 million people have participated in donating through these giving machines. And so
wow.
I think it just grew. It got better and better every year. And this year, for the first time, they're in Africa and Asia.
Wow.
So they're in 13 different countries.
That is amazing. And we'll have a giving machine location right here in downtown Logan, again, just off of Center Street next to Great Harvest Bread there, starting on Monday and running until January 1st. Craig, it's a really fun way to give, but I was this interested me because recently Elder Gary Stevenson of the church's Quorum of the 12 Apostles said this isn't just about, I mean, obviously this is about the immediacy of giving now. You can buy at these vending machine style charitable machines. You can buy food and water for places or families in need in other countries. You can buy traditional fun holiday things like toys and other goods, but you can buy food, water. You can buy a month of health care for a family with a moderate donation, all through these vending machine style giving machines. But Elder Stevenson said that they wanted this to also not just be an opportunity to give immediately, but also to get people thinking more about all the need that's out there around the world.
Yeah, the focus really isn't about monetary. It's not a monetary focus, but it's about blessing individuals and families. And so you can put, a goat or a chicken into a family, and eventually, they can build on that and not just be able to help their family, but help their communities, especially in the third world countries.
Sure. And being able to walk up and make a $20 donation and know that bought health care for a family in Africa or something like that, it's a really fulfilling thing to do. But it does, I have to say, it does work as far as an awareness raising tool, because then you start thinking, there are children out there in some of these countries who don't have the ability to go to a doctor or have their parents take them to a doctor when they're sick. These giving machines get you thinking about that. Now, you've worked on the committee, Craig. How did Logan manage to get selected as a location?
Well, I think they do quite a bit of analysis on it. Actually, these machines that we have started in St. George about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
So they were there. Same machine. So they were there a couple of weeks, and then they went to Ogden for a couple of weeks. But, where they're traveling for us, we hope that we're successful enough that they continue to come back into Logan. There's quite a process in determining what goes in the machine. So we have 6 nonprofit organizations, 5 of which nonprofit charities, 5 of which are from Logan.
Wow.
And then there are a couple of global charities that are all vetted through the charitynavigator.org website.
Good choice there, knowing that the money is being well used. That encourages donations. And so that's great. People could help from the local level to the international level.
Yep, they can. And just another little note about that is that 100% of all the donation that people put into the machine, 100% goes back to the nonprofit charity. And if there are any administration costs, they're covered by the church.
That was, again, Craig Dunkley talking about the Light the World giving machines. And in about 10 minutes in downtown Logan, they'll light these things up. They'll be located there just off of Center Street next to Great Harvest in the parking area there. You can't miss them. They're big red vending machines. And they will be in operation 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. starting tomorrow morning. Well, starting tonight, actually, but they'll open again. They'll close tonight at 9. So the celebration at 6 with live music, guest speakers, food, entertainment, and more. And that's at 6 o'clock, about 10 minutes from now in downtown Logan there, just off of Center Street next to Great Harvest. And then tomorrow morning, they'll open again at 9 a.m., stay open until 9 p.m. every day between now and January 1st. So I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. It's a fun way to give. The vending machine style experience, I think, makes it more tangible. You can see a bit more of where your dollars are going and towards what. And please get down and be a part of it. And yeah. Also, just going to keep hitting on this Cares for Christmas deadline coming up this Wednesday at 5 o'clock. We've partnered with Cares for Christmas again this year. They're in their 10th year as a charitable organization here in the Cache Valley, helping families in need. And we are, again, partnering as a drop-off location up until 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Go to caresforchristmas.org. They're working to meet the needs of 15 different families in some unbelievable scenarios. Most families, no fault of their own, ended up in a situation where they have great need for the kids, for parents coming to live with them in advanced age unexpectedly. One family with a newborn who has yet to leave primary children's after being born a few weeks ago. And they've been traveling from St. George to Salt Lake with the kids staying here in Cache Valley with grandparents to make that possible. Just, unbelievable scenarios. And obviously they have a long list of needs. If you can't go out and shop for the items at caresforchristmas.org that you'll see listed on the needs list for each family, all 15 families there at caresforchristmas.org, gift cards, cash donations via Venmo, which you can use the Venmo ID cares-4-Christmas to make a cash donation. Anything you can do to help. If you make a cash donation, they'll go out and buy for the family on their needs list. So if you don't have time to shop, but either way, check it out, caresforchristmas.org, and head down to Center Street about 8 minutes from now for the Light the World Giving Machine official launch party with live music and more there on Center Street this evening. And those giving machines will be located there just around the corner from Great Harvest on Center Street until January 1st. And we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People, why a court agreed with Utah regulators and let the state assume management of a big magnesium and lithium mine, US Magnesium, on the shores of the Great Salt Lake. It's a pretty big deal. We'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
This is Dr. Red, chiropractic physician with Red River Health and Wellness. Are you suffering with fatigue, brain fog, headaches, intestinal issues, weight gain, and you haven't been able to find any answers?
Before I started at Red River, I was having a lot of stomach pain. I was overweight, severe anxiety, some depression. I had been to multiple doctors. I'd been to specialists. We had done tests, and no one could find anything that was wrong.
Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
I'm on anxiety medicine. I've lowered my dose, and I'm working with my doctor to continue to lower it. I'm sleeping through the night. I have energy for my kids. I've lost 30 pounds. I just feel really good.
Our goal is to teach you and educate you so you know how to manage your condition a lot more effectively, and you know what to do and what not to do for the rest of your life.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. As we roll towards Christmas, we'll give you the absolute latest on everything surrounding the Trump cabinet battles for confirmation. Plus, big news in the world of economics as Trump's policies start to roll out. We will break all that down for you. Make sure you don't miss it. Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. News out today that on Friday, a court-appointed receiver request was granted to the state of Utah by a judge. What's this all about, and what is a receiver? A receiver is basically a court-appointed CEO assuming management of a private company. This is a very rare thing, but it's all happening for some pretty serious reasons. And Utah officials went to court on Friday to ask a judge for this, and by late Friday evening were granted exactly that by a judge. An outside CEO, basically manager, receiver, will be assuming all management responsibilities of a private mining company on the shore of the Great Salt Lake called US Magnesium. Why? Well, way back in 2021, a settlement between US Magnesium, the state of Utah, and Utah Department of Environmental Quality specifically, and the EPA was agreed upon. This all came about because US Magnesium was dumping pollutants into the Great Salt Lake as part of the state's renewed focus on rescuing the Great Salt Lake. They wanted them to stop. The EPA stepped in and said, well, what you've been doing is actually illegal. You could pay gazillions in fines, or we can settle and you can agree to clean up the mess, build a retaining wall that will stop the seepage into the Great Salt Lake, and more. US Magnesium said, great, that'll be a lot cheaper than paying the fines. We'll do all of that. The agreement was settled in late 2021, and by early 2022, US Magnesium had stopped all work on meeting their end of the settlement. In fact, they stopped work so completely that 7 different contractors from 4 different states including Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and California, are suing US Magnesium for not paying their bills, saying they started work on this retaining wall and cleanup effort agreed upon in the settlement with the EPA and the state of Utah, and then US Magnesium, the company, just stopped paying their invoices. So it was part of a consent decree. It requires US Magnesium to clean up past contamination at a filtration plant and treat wastewater, and also build this retaining wall to stop seepage into the Great Salt Lake at its Tooele County plant. This is known as an obligation to comply, meaning if you accept the settlement, you are agreeing to do all work to completion. And again, less than 6 months later, it looks like US Magnesium just stopped paying people to do the work. So the contractors stopped showing up. The state of Utah took it to court, and US Magnesium responded and said, well, we stopped mining magnesium there anyway because the bottom fell out of the market, so we're not polluting anymore, so we don't have to do this. The state of Utah obviously disagreed. The EPA also disagreed, and the two teamed up again in court on Friday, and a judge agreed. And now the private company will be managed by a court-appointed CEO. The company also missed a 2022 deadline to stop using certain electrolyte cells. It was discovered they were still using that electrolyte process, which is very bad for saline lakes. And someone is in a lot of trouble. Now, this company still operates several locations around the United States, but here in Utah, the U.S. Magnesium location is now managed by the state of Utah via a court-appointed receiver. What happens with all this is going to be a dramatic story, because obviously contractors are owed money. The EPA isn't happy. The state of Utah isn't happy. And millions in fines are still owed if the settlement is deemed to have been breached by the courts, which it kind of sounds like they breached the settlement agreement. So we'll see what happens here, but the state of Utah gearing up for a fight on this one. Check it out. Details in the Salt Lake Tribune story on our Facebook page. And that's our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. Stick around. Dave Ramsey is next here on